Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got super awesome Death Guy playing the Tier 10 Imperial Japanese Navy battleship Yamato. He is divisioned with GMT-D Unlucky Jack in the Shimakaza. Now, this game was a bit of a heartbreaker. uh, well, you'll see as things move forward, but I think some poor positioning by some of his teammates left the team with pretty much an uphill battle, if you'll forgive that expression, in a naval game uh, toward the end of the match. Unlucky Jack, he is headed for the Bravo Cap. In terms of matchmaking, well, Nevsky is certainly a threat to the Shimakaza. This is a really dangerous thing to push into the middle capture point when there is a one or more 12 kilometer or even 10 kilometer for that matter radars in the game, because a lot of cruiser players are going to position behind that island that super awesome Death Killer is currently aimed at just north of the cap, and radar for their team, and then everybody on the team can take pot shots at the destroyer that's in the Bravo Cap. Now the Otago moving in there with the Shimakaza, I consider that a questionable move. And you can see that the Yamato is detected. That could be the Marceau, right? But it is likely that there is something north of the Bravo Cap as well. So our hero keeps his guns pointed that way, and Marceau behind an island now allows super awesome Death Killer to go undetected. You can see the Yu Yang there on the mini-map north of the Alpha Cap. Benson and Salmon are squaring off with Yu Yang on that side. Still no sign of the Nevsky. You can see Harlem way out there. There's the Nevsky. And it's Kagero for the red team that's in the Bravo Cap. And the big shot from the Yami. I might have held fire and tried to hit that Nevsky, but easy to armchair quarterback well after the fact. Nevsky is, he's making a run for it. And the good guys have a Sherman and a Smallland, which seems like a really, really strong combination of destroyers. And it actually is. We know that the Marceau was over there. We can see Yu Yang and Kagero are tied up, so there's the Marceau again. So where is the U-190? And where is the Sherman? As Unlucky Jack and the Otago secure the Bravo Cap for their team. And Harlem is showing a little bit of side. It's not perfect, but it's a little bit. And Harlem is turning in. But it does not save him as super awesome Death Killer citadels and finishes off the Harlem from pretty long range. Here comes a return shot from the Conqueror. That's a pretty hard hit. Now Conk's AP it's nasty. So it's dangerous to run broadside to that ship in pretty much anything. Now as it stands right now, the good guys have the Bravo Cap, the bad guys have the Alpha Cap. Santander goes down to torpedoes from the Yu Yang, and just like that, both teams are now down a cruiser. Green team still has a little bit of a points advantage on the fact that they secured the Bravo Cap early. Now I'm not sure what super awesome Death Killer is waiting for here. I think I would probably be looking for a shot on the ships that he can see, and he's going to have to do that by either, well, a minute ago turning hard to port and swinging his guns around to starboard or pushing forward. But as it stands right now, sitting behind the island, he's taken his guns out of the game completely. That's a long-range shot on the Conqueror. And you can see Marceau now making a run for, potentially for the Bravo cap. Nearly 10,000 on the Conqueror, but I think the shells on this ship are much better suited for that cruiser, the Nevsky. Has to hope that his friends in the cap will finish off the Sherman as the friendly Sherman is pushing forward a bit. I think that was a wasted volley there on the destroyer. I mean, I admire the fact that somebody in a battleship took a shot at a destroyer, but he's got big targets out there that he could be finishing off, and his destroyer certainly could handle a banged up Sherman. On the other side of the map, Kagero torpedoes the, is it Beiji? Conqueror is turning in. I think I would probably be firing on the Nevsky here. Shot selection is so important when you only get one shot every 29 seconds. Now he's looking at the Nevsky. Nevsky's turning in. I think that's probably going to go too high. And I would be coming hard to port and swinging my guns around to the other side. Yeah, all those shells went over the top of the Nevsky. Now the good guys have managed to secure the Alpha cap, the Bravo cap, and the Charlie cap, and have a points lead. So if you were just looking at that, you'd say, hey, things look pretty good for the team. Now this is really, really important. I feel like it would have been better for Super Awesome Death Killer to go hard to port here and bring all of his guns to the starboard side and start crossing the map. So what's going to happen is, as you see the Sovietsky Soyuz moving up, these islands are going to be blocking Super Awesome Death Killer from making some shots that he could otherwise be making. And in my opinion, kind of doing well. He could have pushed forward, I guess, and gone on onto the 9 line, but he would have just made himself a target. I think I would have fallen back, kept my distance a little bit behind the Georgia there. Just a thought, you know, I know that it's kind of exciting to watch your shells and see where they go, but I prefer Nevsky's turning out, or at least was. There's an opportunity to finish the Nevsky here. Good damage, but doesn't quite finish him off. Now both teams are down 5 ships, and the green team does have a significant lead. Conqueror running, well, not exactly broadside, but showing a lot of side. And our hero's trying to finish off that Nevsky. It's a nice shot, it's good damage, not quite finishing him. Have to hope maybe Smallland can finish him, and he does. So as it stands right now, the green team has a ship's lead, a cap's lead, although that's being contested now in the Bravo cap. So what's happening? Well, right now, the green team still has 3 destroyers. In my opinion, big mistake to have the Shimakaze and the Benson in the same location. I think somebody should have been at Bravo. Now I understand there's a lot of target there, but I think kiting away from there and helping secure Bravo would have made more sense. Georgia is moving very quickly. Looks like a decent lead there. $6,874 damage. So I think that Benson and the Shimakaze sitting at Alpha is a mistake. Plain and simple. I think kiting made more sense. You're not going to be able to torp the DeGrosse, and the U-190 does take out the Shimakaze. You're not going to be able to torp the DeGrosse or the Siegfried, and that's really what you need to be doing. You know, the sub is a threat for sure, but battleships can deal with a sub as long as they're careful. Another nice shot on the Georgia, but not able to finish him. And I think I would stay on the Georgia. And this is where I think it really cost Super Awesome Death Killer to push up on the flank. Because right now, Atago is in the middle of the map by himself. He's trying to secure the Bravo cap, and I applaud that, but he needs support. You can see Sovietsky Soyuz is pushed up there, trying to help. But that's going to, as Georgia now is healing, let's hope Sovietsky Soyuz can stop that and finish him off. And he does. But Atago's all alone, and he's going to have a DeGrosse and a Siegfried coming around that corner any time. And there's still a Yu-Yang and a U-190 out there. Now, I'm not in any way saying that Super Awesome Death Killer has played a bad game. He's not. I mean, he's, you know, we're 11 minutes in, more or less. He's sitting at 122,000 damage. I'd say it's a pretty strong game so far. And really, it looks pretty good for the team. You got 822 to 336. You have all three caps. But this game serves as a wonderful illustration of how sideways things can turn. Now, Super Awesome Death Killer seemed to me, as he shows broadside to the Conqueror, which is always deadly, seemed to me to be trying to get a shot on the Conqueror, but I think he should have been focused on the Siegfried and the cap. There's a great shot on Siegfried right now, but he's so focused on the Conqueror that he's missing that opportunity. So, you know, we'll say a general reminder. Always, always, always be looking at the minimap. Now, by the time that he realizes Siegfried is there and broadside, it's too late. And that really cost the team. Finishing off Siegfried would have been huge there. And you could have been sitting here using the island as cover and waiting for DeGrosse to come broadside. Does that make sense? You can use the island the same way the Conqueror has been. You can keep the Conqueror from shooting at you. As Yu-Yang torpedoes the North Carolina. And Super Awesome Death Killer here, to me, is making a really big mistake. He needs to be bringing the nose the other way. And he's turning all of his guns to starboard. So his rear guns are going to be just that much longer to track on DeGrosse. And now he's got all of his guns out of whack. And DeGrosse is broadside but turning. There's no reason to move from here. Get close enough to see what Conqueror is doing and just use your guns from here. You can move closer. And this is how bad things can go, fellas. Just like that, he's alone. And he's going to be able to rack up some more damage for sure. But this ship is terrible for trying to maneuver around islands. It's just so big. And if he pushes out, which you're going to see he does, the cheek on the front part of this ship here it's a Citadel magnet, especially for something like the Conqueror. Now, I would be looking for a shot without going around the corner on the Siegfried, which we know is out there, right? Last known position, Delta 5. Instead, our hero tries to get the Conqueror, which is going to put a flat broadside right where the forwardmost gun turret is at, and allow the Conqueror to do that. Now, granted, a triple Citadel on the Conqueror in return, but if he hadn't come around the corner when he did, he might have been able to finish off the Siegfried and deal with the Conqueror later. As it stands, with only 6,000 HP, it's only going to take one more shot into that cheek, and that's going to be the end of the game. There it is. So I would say, you know, a good game, a solid game. Over 200,000 damage. I mean, we can look at that damage score there, right? 206,099 damage. That's a strong game, no matter how you slice it. So You know, sometimes teams fall apart. You can see Sovietsky Soyuz sank something, Super Awesome Death Killer sank something. The Sherman took 2 out, Smolin took 1 out, and Benson got 3. But the rest of the team didn't sink anything. And unfortunately for them, this is a game where sinking things is what matters most, even above things like damage and and capping. Because if you're able to sink everybody on the enemy team, you win, and that's what the red team did here. Super Awesome Death Killer, thanks for sending this replay. You did great. I mean, you can't argue with over 200,000 damage. That's strong. Of course, a bunch of those citadels came late in the game when you were essentially sacrificing your ship. And I only point that out because I think there was another alternative there. I mentioned earlier that I think I would have crossed the map to help support B earlier on. But even at this late point in the game, I think maybe you could have finished Siegfried and then fallen back a little bit and not shown broadside to Conqueror. Anyway, those of you joining me, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.